안녕하세요, VIP. I am back with part 3 to my G-Dragon Coup d'etat album review. Going to number 9, which was G-Dragon's version of Millia.
Show City, shout myself, G-Dragon, 뜨거운 냄비 이것은 힙합 우리나라 민요의 랩은 시구자도 몰아난다 현실로 내가 돌아간다 Hey, we can celebrate every freaking day 입거리 열려 시작이면서 yeah 어기야 뛰어차 전날에 따라해
And there isn't much I can add to this song other than the fact that I love the song. I just prefer the one with Missy Elliott. So the 10th track is a song called Runaway.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's me, G-Dragon. Cut the music up. Say 잠에서 깨자마자 내보는 부재중 이 시간에 너밖에 쉼없이 미행 중 벨리 다시 부자전 화길 꺾게 버리고.
After reading the lyrics, and I saw some comments on Twitter about this, that this song could possibly be a message to GD's Sasaeng fans. It also could be, directed towards a former love who's a little obsessive. But I kind of have to agree with the Sasaeng's thoughts because, you can hear like an anger and kind of a pleading throughout the song in GD's tone. And not to mention, he did have to get on the Sasaeng fans recently through Twitter, telling them to stay away from his house and stop stalking him and stop scaring his mother and sister. And I believe he had to move out of his parents' house like a couple months ago because the fans weren't listening to him. I really like the early 90s alternative rock sound to it, and it's a change from it's another change from what we normally hear from GD, and I hope people, again, do similar in the future. Number 11 is I Love It featuring Zeon T and Boys Noise.
입술과 향기가 져 너에겐 다리와 짧은지만 져
Hey Alex, hit me.
See that 눈이 가는 엉덩이 I love it 나도 모르게 또 손이 가는 머리 I like it 가는 발목이 high heel 위에 하루 종일 baby Could you be my lady
I love the Motown feeling of this song, and I actually find it funny when I read the Complex magazine about the Coup d'etat album and I saw the Motown part of it when they were talking about I Love It. There was a moment when I was listening to the song for the first time where I suddenly thought I was listening to Michael Jackson. And like 80s, mid 80s Michael. Seeing as I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan ever since I was 8 years old, that's not a comparison I make lightly because MJ was such an inspiration to me and he's my all-time favorite artist. So for me to compare another musician to somebody I hold in such high standards as Michael Jackson means that artist I'm comparing to has just impressed me beyond belief. And whenever I look at G-Dragon on stage, or I see his music videos, or I listen to his music, the man is living art to me, which was what Michael Jackson was to me. So I think he's earned, for me, personally, the right to be right on par with Michael Jackson. And I'm not saying he's going to be as big as Michael Jackson. I don't think that's I don't think that's realistic. But um, the way he's touched my heart and my soul is as strong as Michael Jackson, which is why I rank him as high as Michael Jackson in my book, and why I also see similarities. And when I watched the 2009 Shine a Light concert, and he did that little the Michael Jackson dance dedication, I started crying. I was like, oh my god, I love you. So I'm not exactly sure why I thought of Michael Jackson when I was listening to the song. I think part of it has to be the there's certain tones in the people's in the voices that sounds similar to Michael Jackson's voice, and I think the music style is similar to some of Michael Jackson's music styles. Um, the 12th track is You Do, which is the outro.
You could be somebody, man. 정의의 Superman. Look so fine. Tony Stark 혹은 Bruce Wayne. 아무나 될 수 있어. 꿈꾸면 뭐든지 할 수 있어. I said you can do it too, man. 기타 치면 Kurt Cobain. 마이크 잡으면 Lil Wayne. 잘 나가면 Big Bang. 누구나 될 수 있어. 원하면 나같이 될 수 있어. Check it out. Yeah, 난 대통령이 될 거야 미리.
I first have to say, GD's voice. Wow. I really like the music, and I feel and the feel of the song. I think I felt that one of the messages GD was trying to convey in this song was you can be whoever or whatever you want, but you can't be another GD, which is true. You can't be another G-Dragon no matter how hard you work or whatever. And there's only one G-Dragon in the world, and there will only ever be one G-Dragon in the world. But you can be, famous like G-Dragon. You can, you can get where GD has reached in his life, but you can't be GD. It also almost feels like he might be calling out those artists that try a little too hard to imitate him. And I know that imitation is pretty common in the music industry and everything. But there's just a couple of artists, and I'm not going to name any names because I don't know what fandoms are going to watch this, and I don't want to start fights. But I have seen a couple of artists that they look a little like their company is trying a little too hard to recreate a G-Dragon in their music company, and I just don't think that's gonna work for them because you can't recreate GD. The 13th track was, which you could not get unless you buy the physical album. It's his song.
잘 알아 그래서 난 슬퍼 또 슬퍼 When I look at you When I look at you 마지막 네 모습이 보여 여전히 넌 예뻐 또 예뻐 When I look at you When I look at you This might be the last
And this is I'm gonna have to go back and drop Nelyria down to number 5 favorite, and because Window is definitely number 4. GD's voice just simply mesmerizes me, and it's so haunting and beautiful. I read the lyrics, and I think this song is really open to interpretation because I know when I read the Complex magazine about Coup d'etat, GD felt that he killed somebody in this song, whereas the two people that he worked on the album with felt that it was a love song. I really can see both sides to it, and which is why I think the song is really open to your interpretation of it. And I also, because there's this eeriness and um, hauntingness to Judy's voice, but there's also seems to be kind of a sad and a sense of loss in that voice, and it really makes me teary-eyed. So it's my number 4 favorite. Illyria is number 5, and Black featuring Sky Ferreira is number 6.
If you ask me what happiness is, when this life is done, maybe when this love is gone. If you ask me what happiness is, you smile under the sun, but I'm always on the run.
This is my favorite version of Black, and it's not because I have anything against Jenny Kim, it's only because Sky Ferreira has the type of female singing voice that I really like, which is kind of an ethereal, kind of entrancing, haunting type voice. It's not a requirement for me to be a fan of a girl to have that kind of style of voice, because I am Park Bom and Minzy biased, and their voices aren't like that. There's she put and her voice just tugs at my heartstrings as much as GD's does during his verses. The tone of his voice throughout the song is so sad and heartbreaking, and I don't have to know, even though I've looked up the lyrics and know what's being said. I don't need to. I can feel the emotion in the tones of their voices, and it makes me weep. Overall, I believe this album, I won't say it's his best album, because I listened to Heartbreaker a couple days ago. I spent the day listening to Heartbreaker, his One of a Kind EP, and Coup d'etat, and I won't say it's his best album. He could say it's his best album, and he has every right to feel that way. I don't think it's his best album. Instead of saying it's his best album, I'm going to say throughout the 4 years between 2009 and now, GD has grown a lot musically, and his music is evolving and changing, and just becoming more and more incredible. And as I said, there are a couple songs on the album that weren't my immediate favorites, but I still like the songs. They just didn't stand out to me at first. It's really the style of the songs, but I won't be skipping them. GD is an absolutely amazing artist, I think this album gives a little bit more in-depth view of what GD is like as a person, as Kwon Ji Young, not G-Dragon. I think he's opened up so much more with his emotions, how he's feeling, and as a friend of mine said, he's finally coming out of his shell. It also shows not only his like for different kinds of music, but also his ability to perform many different styles. And I really hope that if he tours for Coup d'etat at all, he will include the USA this time, unlike his last world tour that, only encompassed Asia. Anyway, so that's it for the album review. Amazing album. If I was going to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being it sucks, 10 being it's the best album in the world, I'm going to go with 10. But that could be because I'm GD biased, and I will rarely rank him lower than 10, because he's always 10 to me. So I hope there'll be a couple more music videos coming out for this album, but I understand that GD is really tight on time, so who knows. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I apologize if it's not that great, kind of boring. I'm really nervous and jittery in front of cameras, so but I'm trying to get better, and I thought, you know, at least my VIP friends would want to know how I felt about each song and the album overall. Even though I say I love it, but now you get more in-depth view of my feelings on Coup. So, thanks for watching. Annyeong!